I'm driving. I'm about to go to Walmart, get me some band-aids, um, a shower brush, and deodorants. But I'm also feeling a bit under the weather, golly, because of all this pollen. And then I think the pollen got me sick. So I get paid this Friday and this Thursday. I get paid this Thursday for the golf course, and I get paid Friday for Full Sail. And I was just thinking like, cause I just left the Kava bar. I had to leave work early because it's just that bad how I'm feeling. So we gotta use the sauna and take a shower, and, see if that helps. But I'm just thinking like, damn man, like, there's a few things I'm really looking forward to. One thing is gyno surgery for sure because I've had gyno since I was age 10. And even when I got really lean, like down to like 12% body fat, essentially, like when I was 149, I'm 5'9", you know, or like when I first went vegan and I went all the way down to 140, I still had the gland, the tissue there. And I was like, yo, why is that? You know? And then I remember I went to the female boob doctor, the woman boob doctor, and she did a mammogram and everything for me and shit. And then she let me know, yeah, it's gyno. It's not cancer. I was like, oh, I didn't think it was gonna be cancer, but that would just been, more icing on the cake at that point. So, but getting gyno surgery, I think, because really, yes, it looks bad, right? But the sensitivity is the bigger issue because I have to wear band-aids just so I can go about my day-to-day and function, you know. So it's like I don't want to deal with that shit anymore. And being able to get that surgery, because it's gonna cost a lot. Being able to get that surgery and then, well, first paying off Sally Mae and then getting that surgery, I think those are like the two big dragons, the two big antagonists of my life, and I think that's just gonna be game changing, you know. Like being able to look in the mirror, um, and seeing that, damn, I don't got gyno no more. I don't got no big ass titty gland just sticking out, you know. Because I've gotten really lean before, you know what I mean? Not single digit, but at least like 13, 12%, you know. I'll show pictures later in the future after I get the surgery, but, you know. And now I'm trying to get lean again because I bulked up. I bulked up all the way to 200 and something. It was like 205, I think I bulked up to. But then I just looked fat, watery, bloated, looked a mess, right? So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna cut down again, and I'm gonna just maintain at a at a low body fat, and just try to build any amount of more muscle as I can. So right now I'm 185, and I'm trying to cut back down to like 150. When I was 170, I didn't look that bad, honestly, but the gyno makes it look worse, you know? So it doesn't matter, like, even when I'm like freaking 13%, the gyno titty gland just sticking out. This shit does not look good, you know? But, yeah, Sally Mae's going down. You know, well, I was at the Kava bar. At the same plaza, there's a Publix, and I went to go get some chips, and uh, right now I'm averaging about 12,000 calories per week. This week's gonna be a little bit over because one day I had an overage. It was like 3,000 calories. But the past 2 weeks have been around that, like 1,200, 1,300. So this week might be around 13. But while I was at Publix, I saw like this teen couple, and they were just going through the aisles with their backpacks and laughing and shit. And like the first thought in my mind was like, damn, I'm getting old, you know? And the reason why I was like, damn, I'm getting old is because, like, right now I'm 27. And honestly, from like 2020 onward, has been a blur. But my whole life has kind of been like that, my adult life, because it's been nothing but work, 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 you know? Um, when I moved down here in 2017, the first smack of reality was being in an apartment, right, by myself, using living expense checks to cover the rent to go to school at Full Sail, and then uh, needing to walk because I didn't have a car. I didn't know how to ride a bike, so I had to walk, right? So I walked an hour and 20 minutes, and that was the first smack of reality, you know. And then I had to go back home to the apartment, empty apartment, mind you. You know, you might think, oh, he had an apartment. No, like mattress was on the floor for a year. There was roaches in the apartment eating better than me for the first like 2 years, you know. And I had to complain, 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 and it's just crazy, man. It's just crazy. Uh, you know, needing to worry about laundry, needing to worry about cooking all your foods, prepping all your meals. I was 18 years old, man. Like, it was a big culture shock, you know? And then I was still trying to make music work, doing everything I could. uh, walk into Fat, Fat Planet Studios. And I remember I walked 3 hours. I walked 3 hours just to make a deposit. 5 hours for studio time because, you know, I was using the FL Studio at the apartment in the closet, using clothes and using shit to make sure there's no reverb. And I was working for a little bit, but I didn't really know how to engineer my music that well. And this was prior to getting like a good engineer off of Fiverr. So I was like, you know what? I'll make the investment, go to the studio, see how much the quality is, the difference in quality, and try to replicate it. So I did that. Uh, the whole Fur Hats and Juice EP, which three of the songs still not even released because I never went back to the studio. But Fur Hats and Juice EP, that was all recorded at Fat Planet. Uh, you know, and I'm gonna re-release those two because I'll just record them, like re-record them and get it better. But how long have I been talking? 9 minutes. All right. I don't want this to be too long. But what was I saying? Yeah, it was a culture shock. You know, going from 18-year-old, you know, your family, parents help you deal with everything, then get smacked with reality, not having Wi-Fi in the crib, for a year and 2 months later down the line, then getting a job, and you know, what I mean, this crap goes deep. You know, crap goes deep. And then after graduating college, can't land a job in the industry, so you got to work 3 fucking jobs in the middle of a pandemic. Everyone's like, "Oh, I've been trapped inside." You outside every day working. You know what I'm saying? So it's it's crazy to think about that. My that's how my reality was. You know, working 3 jobs, then teaching myself how to ride a bike, finally getting a better job that paid me a decent wage at Morgan and Morgan. They was paying me 15. This is 2021. So they're like, "All right, we pay 15." I'm like, "Thank you," right? That was hard to get in Winter Park back in 2020, 2021. You know, people wasn't paying $15 an hour. Now, 2026, $15 an hour is like the bare minimum. Fuck you mean you're not paying more than $15 an hour, right? But back then, it was different. So I got the job at Morgan and Morgan. It was in Longwood. I lived, my old crib was in Winter Park. So I had to ride my bike. It took me an hour and 40 minutes. I said this in many videos, probably. But it took me an hour and 40 minutes riding my bike. I was PM shift. I believe the schedule was 12 to 9 or something like that. But I got home late, you know. The good thing is I was only working 2 jobs and I had 2 days off. I had, I think, Wednesday and Thursday, or Tuesday and Wednesday. One or two. So that was nice. But God, the job wore me out. Just imagine, hour and 40 minutes just to get to work, hour and 40 minutes just to get back. You know what I mean? You're only getting $15. You know what I'm saying? You have to answer the phone, talk to people about car accidents, medical malpractice, and then after clicking a few fucking buttons in Salesforce, you gotta tell them this is something we could look into further, and this is something we can't. You know, it wore me out. I was only there for 8 months. 8 months doing that bike ride, and sometimes I needed to call a Lyft XL. You know, because literally I would be like fucking dizzy, or my headlight would go out. You know what I mean? It's just like working 3 jobs, then working 2 jobs, or 1 job still fucking far away, and then working 2 jobs on the weekend because I was working at the golf course. Then by 12, I gotta be at Morgan and Morgan. You know what I mean? It's like, and the golf course I clocked in at 5:15. I still work at the golf course to this day. You know, I've never had just 1 job. Even when I first got the job at the golf course, I was still a student at Full Sail back in 2019. So I was doing school, and you know, with school and shit, the whole schedule is damn near like very aggressive, almost like a job. So it's like, you know, but I think about like the future, and I think about how one day, I don't even know if I'm gonna upload this video immediately or at all, who knows. But I always think about one day how I'm gonna look back either at these videos, or I'm gonna come, the day's gonna hit when Sally Mae Zero. The day's gonna hit when I get gyno surgery. And the day's gonna hit when I get the crib and I have rent coverage buffer multiple months in advance. And it's just like, I'm gonna be like, you know, I don't know what it's like being without that. That shit's crazy. You know, it's crazy to think about. But that's all I wanted to yap about right now. I probably won't make another video for a while because there's no point of me making updates. But yeah, Sally Mae's gonna be at 34, so I'll probably see y'all when Sally Mae's at 10K and see how my mindset is, how I'm communicating, you know, moments of weakness, all that. See you later.